So what's all the stuff on the ground?
Well, it's stuff that they've hauled in and out of, they've hauled in here since I first in, but it was stuff that was up here as part of a chute that was, went to an upper level. And this is where they hit the ore zone. And as you can see, this is how this is all tipped up. It's the same thing. All these anticlines are tipped up. So they hit the ore zone here, and they went both left and right. And see, here's where the, I don't want you to show that.
You don't want to show this?
No.
What is that?
That's the head frame for where they hoisted. They actually had power here to run this air power from the compressor. They were running a hoisting system that ran the ore cars right up here and dumped them, and the rails came right through here, and they would have filled up their ore car and sent it out from the lower level.
So the ore car would come in right here?
Yeah. And that way, there was a dumping system.
And then it would dump.
Yeah, and dump into the rail cars right there. And they would bring the ore cars from right and left. If you look at the cross street going that way, it goes on out, and that's what you see in. So they had ore coming from both directions, as well as down below. And when you go down below, where this vertical shaft comes out, just below that, there's a great big room where they stoped out or mined out a whole bunch. They had rails going all the way down. This is going along the ore zone. So see that streak right in the side, and so they're following the ore right on down. And where it got thicker, and when they got better ore, and probably some of that stuff was ore, they would mine it out on the sides of this zone.
So this dark is the ore?
Yeah, probably silver chloride in there. Is there a loose piece there you can grab me?
Oh, we'll get a
Dark
piece.
stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah, just bring it.
right there. Oh, we lost the money. The money. What are you looking at here?
Just how the darkness and streaks. No, I don't think that's ore. See that stuff that's, yeah. That might have some silver chloride in it. Don't know.
Taste it.
Yeah. Actually, it doesn't taste even like salt would. But see this? That's a seam right here. It's on the bottom of that. And that's the kind of seam. And it would be much darker if it was really high grade. Well, we'll take that.
Cool.
So anyway, this is a cob mine, and this identifies it because we show that in the video. That's why I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha.
That's why I'm saying don't necessarily want to show that.
That's a fun little piece of history, though. That's fun.
That's an old square.
Oh, that probably didn't go there. Probably someone just put it there, huh?
Yeah, they probably found it, and that's come. Well, it doesn't have a end in it like it was a spike for a. It's just probably used to drive in along something to tighten it up.
There's some old. Here's. Are those feel
Railroad
wooden? Are those wooden? Are those? I think those are wood. Those are wooden nails right there.
That's a railroad.
It's a railroad spike.
Railroad spike.
Oh, okay.
See, they had rails coming up, and they've taken all the rails out during the war to because they remelted them, made steel out of them. They reclaimed a lot of all the rails and all the head frames and steel that was in these old mines were used for the steel or for the war effort. But that's where the rails would have came up. And they probably took the rails right up here. They probably had a bend in the rail. Blacksmith would have bent a rail and it would have come out flat to enough to where they would have dumped it. The rail may have been curved, because most of these ore cars were end dump. So the guy standing here as this was being pulled up would just open the gate on the end of the ore car. It'd have an ore car underneath it, and when that thing rolled over like this, it would dump into the other car. And that's what took it out, because they were bringing cars in both ways. That would go straight on out. They had a switch right here that took it out. So that's how they were doing it. The piece has got some burn on it. Somebody's been in there burning something. That's one of the deadliest things you can do in a mine is, see, those are more spikes to nail down the rails. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Way cool. Fun. I'm glad we were able to come in.
Yeah, normally it'd be all locked up. Somebody's been in there. See, that's modern with a modern paint can.
Yeah.
But that may be the BLM. This is all new. None of this writing was on here when we came in originally.
Mm.
But see all these seams? That's contaminated ore, rock. I think this is the ore seam, and where they got thick and they assayed it, and there's lots of silver in it. That's where they mined out big old rooms and took out the good stuff. In today's mining world, you just take it all and leach it.
It's almost like water's coming through.
What's that?
It feels like wet, kind of.
Damp in here?
Well, I mean, in those veins.
Oh. Well,
Would water flow through those?
originally, probably yes. But I don't think we see much evidence of that in the mining they took. They did get in areas where they had water.
So
and
the dark is just silver. Is the silver in there?
You got to assay it to find out. A lot of things can make it dark. In other words, mudstones, shales, and everything, and sandstones would usually be indicative of a dark layer. But here, and the silver chloride didn't turn dark until it got exposed to light.
Mm.
It was used on photographic plates.
Oh, right.
So it was not dark in its native deposition. It was dark when it was exposed to light. And of course, in the mine, it gets exposed, but they can see the seams going in just because they have just different. It's not like this pure sandstone. So when they went in here, they'd assay it. And the way they did that, they took a little geologist type pick, and they put a piece of canvas or something on the floor, and they picked a channel down through their mining face, and they collected that little sample, and they took it to an assayer, and the assayer would say what percentage of that was silver, and that would tell them how many ounces a ton that they would be able to get out of their mining. So it was critical to take a representative sample, not overload it with just straight sandstone or any of these seams to get a good idea.
I gotcha.
Now, when they mined in here, this is pretty tall, and all this is pretty tall. Well, you're using horses or mules in here, and so your normal access to get in and out, where you're bringing your powder in to blast and your drill steels and all that, just to keep a good entry height. But soon as you go up or down or sideways and chase the ore, let's say you had a seam here. Let's just get this down. Let's say a seam here and a seam here and a seam here. And then it was all barren rock down here. We would be mining up, drilling, laying down on our side or something. We'd take it from there to there. So all these seams would have a higher percentage of silver in it versus the barren rock than it would have if we took it the whole height. So a lot of the places they mine out in little pockets are not very, they're just wide enough to get through, you know, and to lay down or kneel down and drill holes and blast. And it makes the ore a lot richer, a lot higher grade. So they would just take from the bottom seam to the top seam when they could.
Okay.
So this is standing pretty good. See, some of this stuff, if I were in here now going in and these guys are not paying attention, I wouldn't allow them in my mind. But you would scale. I have a scaling bar down there that we used when we came in here and videoed it. And we just take all this, anything loose down, so you weren't under top.
Oh, gotcha.
Under anything loose that's ready to fall. And I have a gas monitoring device down there too, which is monitors for oxygen and CO and anything like that. So that's when we came in here and lasered this to make the video. Yeah, that definitely is the seams are following right there, right there. That's called the slicking side. See, there's some reason that kind of polish is it's had some movement. Maybe didn't take very much, but in faults and cracks and stuff where there's rock movement between one layer and the other, it shines up and looks like, you know, something's been polishing it. And that's what we'd call slicking side. Anyway.
Cool.